You set goals, you plan, you even take action, but somehow, you always end up back where you started. What if the real problem isn't your discipline or motivation, but an invisible mental barrier you don't even know exists? In this video, I'll share 6 scientifically proven psychological traps that are silently sabotaging your success, and exactly how to break through them starting today. I discovered these barriers when I spent 2 years studying cognitive psychology and interviewing high performers. What I found shocked me. Successful people aren't more talented or disciplined, they've just learned to recognize and dismantle these mental traps. The problem is, your brain is hardwired to create these barriers as a protection mechanism. But in modern life, they're holding you hostage. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to identify which barrier is affecting you, and you'll have a step-by-step system to break through it. Let's dive in. Now here's where it gets interesting. Because this isn't about being lazy or unmotivated. Your comfort zone is a neurological reality. It's a behavioral space where your brain has mapped out every stimulus and response, eliminating uncertainty. When you're inside it, your prefrontal cortex can relax, and stress hormones stay low. It feels safe because it is safe. But safety and growth cannot coexist in the same space. Research from the University of Texas found that optimal performance happens in a state called optimal anxiety, just outside your comfort zone. This is where your brain releases just enough cortisol to sharpen focus, but not so much that you freeze. The problem? Your amygdala treats anything unfamiliar as a potential threat, sending danger signals that feel like fear, even when there's no real risk. Here's how to break through. First, identify one specific action that makes you slightly uncomfortable but isn't dangerous, like speaking up in a meeting or going to the gym alone. Second, commit to doing it within 48 hours, not someday. Third, immediately after doing it, write down how it felt after versus your anxiety before. You'll notice the fear was worse than reality. Fourth, repeat this weekly, gradually expanding the range of discomfort you can tolerate. For instance, instead of saying, "I need to be more confident," try, "I'll ask one question in tomorrow's meeting." The specificity removes ambiguity, which is what your brain actually fears. But that's not all, because there's another barrier that's even more subtle. This next one is crucial, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. You've probably done this. You imagine your future self, the one who wakes up at 5 a.m., eats perfectly, and never procrastinates. Then you make plans based on that fictional person's abilities, not your current reality. Psychologists call this temporal discounting. Your brain treats your future self like a completely different person. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology used brain scans and discovered something shocking. When people think about their future selves, the same brain regions light up as when they think about strangers. Your brain literally doesn't recognize future you as you. This is why you promise you'll start the diet on Monday, or you'll write that book when you have time. You're delegating responsibility to someone who doesn't exist yet. This works because your brain prioritizes immediate rewards over delayed ones. A marshmallow now beats 2 marshmallows later, even when logic says to wait. Here's the antidote. First, stop making promises to future you. Make a decision you can execute in the next 2 hours. Second, use the minimum viable action rule. What's the smallest possible step? Not work out for an hour, but put on gym clothes. Third, track daily actions, not outcomes. Your brain needs immediate feedback, and checking a box gives you a dopamine hit that builds momentum. Fourth, set implementation intentions. Research by Peter Gallwitzer shows that people who say, "When X happens, I will do Y," are 300% more likely to follow through. For example, instead of "I'll exercise more," say, "When I finish my morning coffee, I will do 10 push-ups." The specificity bypasses the need for willpower. Now, let's talk about something even more powerful. Most people don't know this, but your brain is not showing you reality. It's showing you an edited version based on your beliefs. Cognitive distortions are systematic errors in thinking that your brain uses to confirm what it already believes. If you believe, "I'm not good at public speaking," your brain will filter every experience through that lens. You'll remember the one time you stuttered, and forget the 10 times you spoke clearly. This is called confirmation bias, and it's strengthened by something even more powerful, the negativity bias. Research from neuroscientist Rick Hansen reveals that negative experiences are stored in long-term memory after a single occurrence, while positive experiences need to be held in awareness for 20 seconds to even register. Your brain is literally Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. This evolutionary mechanism kept your ancestors alive by remembering dangers, but in modern life, it creates a distorted self-image that holds you back. The psychology here is simple. You become what you repeatedly tell yourself. If your inner narrative is, "I always fail," your subconscious will sabotage success to maintain consistency with that identity. Here's how to rewire it. First, catch yourself in distorted thinking. Common patterns include all or nothing thinking. I ate one cookie, so the diet is ruined. Catastrophizing, if I fail this test, my life is over. And personalization, they didn't respond to my text, they must hate me. Second, challenge the thought with evidence. Ask, is this 100% true, or is this a story I'm telling myself? Third, install positive experiences deliberately. When something good happens, even small, pause for 20 seconds and really feel it. This helps it stick in long-term memory. Fourth, keep an evidence journal where you write down daily proof that contradicts your negative beliefs. Instead of letting your mind run on autopilot, question every limiting belief. Most of them are lies you've told yourself so many times they feel like truth. But wait, there's more to this, because the next barrier is one that affects perfectionists especially. Now you might be thinking, but isn't perfectionism a good thing? Doesn't it mean I have high standards? Here's the truth. Perfectionism isn't about excellence. It's about fear. Specifically, fear of judgment, fear of failure, and fear of not being enough. Psychologist Thomas Greenspan's research found that perfectionism is strongly correlated with anxiety, depression, and procrastination, not success. The mechanism works like this. Perfectionists set impossibly high standards, then procrastinate starting because they know they can't meet those standards. When they finally do start, they get stuck in endless revision loops, tweaking tiny details that don't matter. The underlying belief is, my worth is determined by my achievements, which means every task carries the weight of your entire identity. That's exhausting, and your brain protects you by simply not starting. Japanese culture has a concept called wabi-sabi, finding beauty in imperfection. A cracked teacup isn't ruined. It has a story. This philosophy has been used for centuries because it removes the paralyzing pressure of flawlessness. Here's the breakthrough method. First, give yourself permission to create version 0.1, the worst possible version that still functions. For a presentation, that's rough bullet points on paper. For a workout routine, that's one push-up. Second, set a timer for imperfect action. Tell yourself, I'll work on this badly for 15 minutes. Once you start, momentum takes over. Third, adopt the 70% rule. If something is 70% done and functional, ship it. You can always iterate later. Fourth, reframe failure as data collection. Thomas Edison didn't fail 1,000 times. He discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work. For instance, instead of, I need to write the perfect novel, try I'll write 200 messy words today. The lowered barrier removes the resistance. There's a scientific reason for this, and it's fascinating. Your brain's reward system only activates when you complete things. Perfectionism prevents completion, which means you never get the dopamine hit that motivates continued effort. You're starving your brain of the very chemical it needs to keep going. This brings me to the next secret, and this one is quietly sabotaging millions of people every day. Here's something most people never question: the rules you're living by. You have an invisible script running in your subconscious, a collection of beliefs about how life should work, what success must look like, and what you have to do to be worthy. These scripts were written by your parents, teachers, culture, and society, and you've never questioned if they're actually true for you. Psychologist Albert Ellis called these irrational beliefs, and they sound like this: I must be loved by everyone. I should never make mistakes. If I'm not successful by 30, I'm a failure. Notice the rigid, absolute language? That's the telltale sign of an invisible script. Research from Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck shows that people with fixed mindset scripts, I'm either smart or I'm not, perform significantly worse than those with growth mindset scripts. Intelligence is built through effort. The script you run determines the actions you take. This works because your subconscious mind is a goal-seeking mechanism. Give it the goal, don't embarrass yourself, and it will keep you small and hidden. Give it the goal, learn and grow, and it will push you toward challenges. Here's how to rewrite your script. First, identify your shoulds. For 1 week, notice every time you say or think, I should, I must, or I have to. Write them down. Second, question each one. Ask, who says, is this my value or someone else's expectation? Third, replace limiting scripts with empowering ones. Instead of, I should be further along by now, try, I'm exactly where I need to be for my unique journey. Fourth, surround yourself with people who live by scripts you admire. Your environment is contagious. Neuroscience shows that mirror neurons cause you to unconsciously adopt the beliefs and behaviors of those around you. For example, maybe you've been following the script, success means a corporate job, marriage, and a house by 30, but that doesn't actually make you happy. Permission to rewrite. Success is whatever creates fulfillment in your life, not someone else's checklist. You've already watched this far, so let me share the final and most dangerous barrier. This last one is the master lock that keeps all the other barriers in place. Your identity, the story you tell about who you are, is the most powerful force shaping your behavior. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, explains it perfectly. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. The problem is, most people have identity statements that limit rather than empower. I'm not a morning person. I'm terrible with money. I'm just not creative. Here's what's happening in your brain. Your self-concept is stored in a network of neurons that fire together. Every time you say, I am, limiting identity, you strengthen that neural pathway. Over time, it becomes your default operating system. Psychologists call this identity foreclosure, locking yourself into a fixed sense of self before you've explored who you could actually become. Research from neuroscientist Dr. Joe Dispenza shows that 95% of your thoughts today are the same as yesterday, and 95% of those thoughts create the same emotions and behaviors. You're literally running a loop that recreates your current identity every single day. The mechanism is self-fulfilling prophecy. If you identify as not a gym person, you won't go to the gym, which confirms you're not a gym person. The identity protects itself. Here's how to break free. First, separate behavior from identity. You're not lazy. You engaged in lazy behavior in a specific context. That's changeable. Second, adopt identity-based goals. Instead of, I want to lose 20 pounds, outcome. Ask, what would a healthy person do? And do that. Identity. Third, use identity statements in the present tense. I am becoming someone who, desired trade. This signals to your brain that change is happening now. Fourth, collect evidence of your new identity. Every time you act in alignment with who you're becoming, acknowledge it. That's what a disciplined person does, and I just did it. For instance, instead of, I'm trying to quit smoking, say, I am a non-smoker. Notice how the second statement claims the identity immediately. Your brain will work to make your behavior consistent with that identity. Thousands of people have used this method to completely reinvent themselves, not through willpower, but through identity shift. The only difference between who you are now and who you want to become is the stories you tell yourself and the actions that follow. Let's quickly review what we covered today. Number 1, the comfort zone cage. Take small steps outside your comfort zone weekly to expand your range. Number 2, The illusion of future self. Stop delegating to future you. Take action in the next 2 hours. Number 3. The cognitive distortion filter. Catch negative thought patterns and challenge them with evidence. Number 4. The perfectionism paralysis. Ship version 0.1 and improve as you go. 70% done is better than 0% perfect. Number 5. The invisible script. Identify the shoulds running your life and question whether they're truly yours. Number 6. The identity prison. Shift from limiting identities to empowering ones. Become the person through action, not waiting. Remember, these barriers aren't your fault. They're evolutionary mechanisms that once kept humans alive, but in the modern world, they're outdated software running on advanced hardware. You have everything you need to reprogram them. The only difference between people who break through and people who stay stuck is awareness and action. Now you have the awareness. The action is up to you. Don't wait until you feel ready or until circumstances are perfect. That moment will never come. Your brain will always generate reasons to stay safe. Start with just one barrier from this list, the one that resonated most, and apply the steps today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today. I promise you, 30 days from now when you look back, you'll barely recognize the person you were when you started watching this video. If you found this helpful, hit that like button so more people can cover these insights. Subscribe for more psychology-backed strategies to level up your life. Drop a comment telling me which barrier affects you the most. I read every single one, and I'm genuinely curious. And if you want to learn how to build unstoppable discipline using psychological triggers, check out this video next. I break down the exact neuroscience of motivation and willpower. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.